She sang of love, of staying together, of pulling through. Her voice captured hearts all over the world. And yet, behind the melodies and the hit singles, one woman carried a silence for decades. At 85, Toni Tennille has finally opened up. She is breaking the silence on her marriages, the hidden truths, the emotional cost, and the journey from spotlight to solitude. Tonight, we go behind the songs, to the real story. Before the world knew her as half of the legendary duo Captain and Tennille, Toni Tennille was just a bright-eyed Southern girl with a dream and a piano. Born May 8, 1940, in Montgomery, Alabama, Toni grew up surrounded by music and quiet determination. Her father, Frank Tennille, was a businessman and big band singer who performed under the name Clark Randall, while her mother, Catherine, nurtured her daughter's creativity. But life in Montgomery was modest, and Toni's ambitions were anything but small. As a child, she gravitated toward melody like a moth to light. She studied classical piano, absorbing the emotional precision of Chopin and the gentle optimism of American standards. By her teenage years, she was already performing in local musicals and community theater, showing the charisma that would one day make her a household name. In the late 1950s, after high school, Toni attended Auburn University, majoring in English and minoring in music. There, she wrote and performed in stage productions, gaining early experience as a composer and performer. When her father's business faltered, the Tennille family moved to California, hoping for a fresh start. For Toni, it was destiny. By the early 1960s, the West Coast music scene was exploding, and Toni found herself right in the middle of it. She started out playing keyboards in small jazz and pop bands around Los Angeles. Her big break came in 1971, when she co-wrote a musical called Mother Earth, a socially conscious show about environmental awareness. It ran successfully in San Francisco, earning her attention in music circles. Then fate struck in 1972. One of the musicians she hired for her show was a quiet, classically trained keyboardist named Daryl Dragon, a former touring member of the Beach Boys. He was shy, reserved, but immensely talented. Toni was outgoing, warm, and full of laughter, the opposite of Daryl's cool demeanor. Yet when they played together, the chemistry was undeniable. Their musical partnership quickly evolved into something more. They formed Captain and Tennille, with Daryl adopting his nickname, the Captain, a playful nod from Beach Boys frontman Mike Love. In 1973, they began performing in small clubs, blending soft pop, jazz, and heartfelt lyrics. Their chemistry on stage captivated audiences, and soon record executives took notice. By 1975, their breakout hit Love Will Keep Us Together rocketed to #1 on the Billboard charts, earning them a Grammy Award for Record of the Year. Toni's radiant smile, paired with Daryl's stoic coolness behind the keyboard, created an image America fell in love with, the perfect picture of romantic harmony. But as the cameras flashed and fans screamed their names, no one could see the quiet unease beneath Toni's stage smile. She was in love, yes, but she was also beginning to sense something missing in their connection. While the world celebrated their love songs, Toni was unknowingly stepping into a love story that would later become her greatest heartbreak. She thought she'd found her forever duet. But soon, the melody would start to fade. By 1976, Captain and Tennille were everywhere. Television specials, world tours, and back-to-back hits like Muskrat Love and Do That to Me One More Time. They were America's musical sweethearts, selling millions of records and representing what seemed like the perfect marriage. To the world, Toni Tennille and Daryl Dragon were the embodiment of love will keep us together. But behind the spotlight, their love story wasn't as harmonious as their melodies. Toni later confessed that even in those early years, something vital was missing: warmth, affection, connection. Daryl Dragon was a musical genius, classically trained, meticulous, and emotionally reserved. He battled lifelong anxiety and later developed a neurological disorder known as essential tremor, which made even simple tasks difficult. It also made him retreat further inward. Toni, full of energy and emotional openness, found herself increasingly isolated. "He never held me," she said years later. "He never said, 'I love you.' I don't think he knew how." In her memoir, Toni revealed that their marriage became a performance, a carefully rehearsed act that existed mainly for the public. Offstage, the silences grew longer, the conversations fewer. Even as their songs played on radios across America, their emotional duet had gone quiet. They stayed together for nearly 4 decades, 39 years of shared music, but separate worlds. She remained loyal, often serving as Daryl's caretaker as his health declined. "I thought love could fix it," she said softly. "I believed if I just kept giving, he'd finally see me." In 2014, Toni made a painful decision. From her Arizona home, she filed for divorce. The news shocked fans. How could the duo that taught the world that love would keep us together finally fall apart? The divorce papers cited irreconcilable differences. But for Toni, it was more than that. It was a release from years of loneliness, from living a life that wasn't truly hers. "I loved him deeply, but he could never love me back the same way." It wasn't anger. It was heartbreak. Even after the divorce, Toni never stopped caring. When Daryl's health worsened, she returned to be by his side. She was there when he took his final breath in January 2019 at their home in Prescott, Arizona. She sang to millions about love that lasts forever. But in the end, Toni Tennille learned that some loves don't need forever. They just need truth. After nearly 40 years of performing, touring, and carrying the image of America's happiest couple, Toni Tennille finally stepped off stage. For good. Her divorce in 2014 marked the end of Captain Tennille, but also the beginning of something she'd never truly had before: herself. At 85, Toni lives quietly between Florida and Arizona, surrounded by close friends, her dogs, and her garden. The crowds are gone, but the peace she has now is worth more than any applause. She spends her mornings at the piano, not rehearsing, just playing for the joy of sound, for the first time without pressure. For decades, Toni had carried a burden she couldn't share. She had written songs of connection while living in isolation. Fans saw perfection, but behind her radiant smile was a woman yearning to be truly known. When she finally broke her silence in her 2016 memoir, she said it wasn't revenge. It was healing. "I needed to tell the truth. I wasn't angry. I just didn't want to leave this world with a lie." Her story resonated with millions, especially women who'd stayed too long in quiet marriages, thinking endurance was the same as love. Toni's honesty became her liberation. She admitted she never stopped caring for Daryl Dragon. In fact, when he became gravely ill, she moved back in with him to help. Theirs was a love that couldn't survive marriage, but endured in compassion. When Daryl passed away in 2019, Toni said she was grateful she could be there. "He died knowing I cared," she whispered in one interview. Now, as she looks back on her life, the fame, the heartbreak, the glittering illusion of Hollywood, she speaks with serenity. "I used to think success was applause," she told People magazine. "Now I know it's peace." Toni still sings occasionally at local events and in church choirs. Her voice, though softer, carries the same golden warmth it always did. But now it's filled with something new: truth. She no longer sings to prove love can last. She sings to remind others that sometimes love's greatest act is letting go. Her journey from stage lights to solitude is a testament to quiet courage, to knowing when the song must end and when a new one begins. At 85, Toni Tennille is no longer performing for the world. She's living for herself. And for the first time, the music truly belongs to her. Toni Tennille has said the words she never did before. She has broken the silence on marriages built on melody, on love songs belied by private emptiness. Her story reminds us that even the greatest hits cannot mask the quiet tears behind closed doors, and that the bravest act might be not staying together, but leaving together, differently, honestly. If you believe in the power of truth, of reclaiming your voice, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss more untold stories from legends who found their strength in silence and then broke it.